Okay, panagdaites tanan. Welcome to uh, this course. This is human-computer interaction, and as posted, I will be providing to you. I will be introducing to you this course, and I will also provide an overview of the whole content of the course. So please follow with the discussions. You can jot down notes, and we hope to formally begin the session next meeting. Okay, so without much further ado, in terms of what the course is all about, this is one of your major courses, and this is about the study of designing, implementing, and evaluating user interfaces. So, with respect to your discipline, with respect to your field of study, and that is information technology and computer science, we have a subset which we call human computer interaction, which is focused on aiming to provide or to produce useful and effective interfaces and electronic products in this case. So when we say interfaces, you may interpret that into two terms. And I'm quite sure you have already heard about the term user interface, and we mean in that sense as the face of the program. So for example, if you try to get some cash through an automated telling machine, what you see on the screen is the interface. Okay. Another definition or way of interpreting the term interface is towards um, the kind of, uh, let's say, physical interface that the hardware uses. For example, you can say your charger is USB Type C charger. So that version of USB can be interpreted as the interface. Okay, so that means the previous interfaces or the previous versions or models of smartphones may not be able to work with the new versions of smartphones in terms of using their charger because the new versions of smartphones now use the Type C interface. So you can either interpret the term interface, both software and hardware. Okay, so going back to the context of the lesson, as I have said, this course is one of the major courses that you need to complete and finish prior to enrolling software engineering soon, because designing for an interactive product or a software or let's say an electronic product requires proper design. Of course, it is debatable to say or arguable to say that a design is perfect, no, but there are guidelines out there to at least make our designs effective, if not perfect. Okay, so the field of study that takes care or considers about that concern is what we call human computer interaction. Okay, in some other universities and schools, HCI is a major, okay, a subset of a degree. So we can say Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, major in HCI. Or I think I've read somewhere, especially for in foreign setting, HCI is a separate degree. Okay, and I don't know if I have mentioned this, but most of the schools in our country offers general information technology degree. So we say Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. In San Jose de Coletos, they have two majors. I don't know if that's still the case presently, but before I knew that they have two majors focused for their BSIT program, and that is application development and mobile uh, development. So we say BSIT major in application development and BSIT major in mobile development. Okay, so if you read along online resources, you will discover that HCI is another interesting subset or subdegree for the degree computer science and information technology. And again, it is concerned of ensuring that we come up with an interactive and effective product or output. May it be a software or hardware, focusing on its design, on its implementation. That means the programming side, if it is software side, and manufacturing side, if it is hardware side, and of course evaluating it. So that means we will ensure we have something that they call method or techniques or metrics to evaluate that uh, this product or this output is sufficient enough for the needs of the users. Okay. Another is if you break down the terms, the name of the course into smaller units, we will come up with the following terms. Okay, the human, the computer, in there, and the interaction. So that means we will talk about some matters involving the human side. Um, these refer to the central element of any software or hardware, and that means that our output or our product must be developed with users in mind. So that means dapat ang users ang sentro sa development sa imong software o sa imong hardware. Pwede. Okay? Which is most likely is concerned by computer engineers. No? In that case, kung hardware siya. So the human in this case is the person or the end user. So in HCI, because the course is multidisciplinary, you will discover it later. But HCI is a multidisciplinary field. When we say multidisciplinary field, naa siya'y mangita siya or i-consider niya ang laing field of study or discipline. Okay, so one example is cognitive psychology, but of course we will not focus on that discipline in this case because number one, we are not qualified to do that. Number two, it's a different field of study. No? Pero if, like I said, if you read along online resources, you will discover that there is so much more to learn and to know and to discover about HCI. No, kay apilo niya ang field of study mismo, gi-consider manggod niya ang strengths and weaknesses of a person, of a human being, as an end user of any computer or computing product. Okay? So panalitan, accordingly, ang mga tao pag makakita og red, okay, that signifies danger. Okay, pag makakita og green, that signifies a go signal. That is why if you come to think, if you have observed, most of the signages out there, and even on your smartphones, pag red gani, the color itself is used to deliver a message to the end user that something is not going right or not going correct. Okay, so for example, if low bat na siya, naka-red siya. Pag green na siya, full bar na siya. And for some smartphones, pag orange, medyo hapit na siya ma-full. Okay, so there are theories supporting that kind of behavior of a person, treating color red as if right away it connotes or it delivers a message that something is not working well or going well. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We'll focus about that in this course. And the second element, if you break the term down into sub-elements, we will come up with something we call computer, and you have uh, already completed your course Introduction to Computing. In this case, we will talk about the trends, the technologies, and how computers can work with the strengths and weaknesses of a human being so that the human person or the human being or the end user will find your product useful and effective to use. Remember that an end user has a particular set of tasks in mind. Okay, that's why we use computers or when using computers. So, how can computers um, accommodate these tasks or requirements coming from the end users in such a way na dali mahuman ang end users? Okay? So, dapat ang computer, okay, mo-adjust siya in terms of the strengths and weaknesses of end users. Okay? And when human beings use computers, interaction happens. Okay, so we establish connection between the end user and the computer. Now, there are theories out there and principles about interaction. Kaya naman tayo gitawag ng mga principles, mga theories, mga guidelines, kumbaga, that will help designers, future designers like you, to take advantage of computers and the ability of the computers to support human beings in completing their tasks. Okay? So that means we will also tackle some guidelines, some principles, some theories presented by the founders of human-computer interaction that will guide you along the way pag naano mo sa software engineering side, when one day you will then develop your own software or your own product, kumbaga. Okay, so that is the sense of human-computer interaction. Okay, another perspective that I need you to understand about this field of study is that human-computer interaction is also the study of interaction between people and computers. So there are, like I said from the previous slide, there are theories and guidelines that will help us be able to establish a healthy interaction between the human and the computer. Kasi pag ang design, pag ang usa ka good is poorly designed, ang tao dili siya mo gamit ana nga product. So in the business sense, dili siya ma-market, dili siya paliton sa tao. Okay? So, meaning the company will definitely not be able to be happy when that happens. Okay? So, from now on, I want you to also realize that the products that you use over the market are in some way designed properly. There are reasons nga nung gi-design na siya. Okay? Kung kabantay mo sa remote control, naa siya shade nga red for off. Di ba? And then naa siya shade pod nga green for turning the television on. Okay? So there are stories behind why these particular products are designed that way. So wala na siya ingon nga gi-design kay gi-design lang inana. Actually, na I field of study nga na I field of study nga nag-take care ana niya. No, at least in computing studies, no, and that is human-computer interaction. Okay, lahi po itong industrial design. Okay, lahi po na siya nga aspect. It still is about designing and producing goods that will become very useful to people and that actually people will enjoy using it. Pero lain to siya nga field of study, lain to siya nga context. Okay, next. Okay, so HCI, with the appropriate and proper knowledge of HCI, it must result to good and not a bad design. So that's the goal of HCI, for us to be able to produce products. Again, pwede siya interface na software, pwede po siya interface na hardware. That is good to use. Generally good in terms of the design. Dili siya bad design. Later, I will show you examples of goods that are labeled as bad designs. Good designs help people to complete tasks easier and efficiently. No? Pas-pas ang iyang kuwan. Pwede man good po siya sa process. Okay? That's why, if you remember in your basic computer programming, we have algorithms. So actually, in the market, whoever writes a faster algorithm, to siya ang most likely mapili sa prospect na company nga mapalit. Because faster algorithm means faster process. It means faster transaction or faster way of the end users to complete a task. Because we need to make the users the center, the central aspect of the design. Because after all, our designs are made for them. So if your end users like the color blue and you hate color blue, you have no choice because your good is supposed to be designed for your end users, not for you. That means we need to be objective, not subjective. So pag ingon nga subjective, biased ta because you mainly consider yourself. Whereas uh, pag objective, you focus on what the users want. Okay? Kay mauman ang ilang requirements. Excuse me. Um, in contrast to matters about good design, we also have matters about bad designs. And bad designs, accordingly, will cost lives, money, and time. So in this case, let's consider the general examples of products. No? Pareha ng mga gas range nga mga poorly designed, no? Nga mapaso ang ang gagamit ana nga gas range or mga washing machine nga poorly designed, kala sinuon siya tubig, no? Na mga inana. Okay, at worst, kanang sa mga vehicles like mga airplanes, no? Pag poorly designed ang iyahang engine, blah 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 blah. So in terms of general overview, general matter about design, then it may cost lives. Okay? And if ang software nimo is poorly designed, dugay siya maka-complete og task kay daghan pa og pasikot-sikot, then that will cost time. Okay? Now, I will be showing to you, these are samples of items labeled as bad designs. So supposed to be, I will be presenting this on an online session, but because of the present situation in terms of our electricity, that's the reason why I have pre-recorded this discussion. So the first image obviously is considered a bad design because this is not the conventional arrangement of our arrows. Okay, this will stress out our brains. Okay, because ideally we follow the top, bottom, left, right arrangement, not this kind of arrangement. So our brains will spend extra energy and processing using this interface because we do not ideally, as perceived by our brains, no, by our thoughts, our mind, as a normal, a conventional arrangement. So this is considered a bad design. It may cause accidents. Okay, because you might be doing something using a software and you might be using the wrong arrow key. On the right side is obviously also considered labeled a bad design because using this key, it looks like maximizing the volume, that is near a power button. So most likely it will also cause accidents. Okay, so accidentally pressing the power button. Another set of good and bad design, if you try to observe this one, left side, this is considered the bad design because all of the important buttons are shaded. While ideally, based on conventions, pagka inani, ang imuhang design, as you can see, only the login me button is shaded. Wala ni siyang ano. sign up. Because ideally, when you visit something, you visit a site, it's assumed that you visit the site because you have an account on that site. So naka-shade lang ang blue kanilang siya. And then on the right side, as you can see, good designing, dako ang headline. Labeled siya, and as you can see, ano siya, ang iyahang use of color is will complement to the primary color, and naka-shaded siya into ang font size is bigger than usual kasi nga heading siya. So bad design pod, it's not considered a good design kani siya because ang headline mo gamay ra, and then ang subjective niya kung iingon ay usahay man good pod kaning design is usahay na parts ka subjective siya, no, but if you try to look at it gray lang siya, no, dili siya captivating. Okay, so let's now proceed to HCI in the history of computing. So over time, ahaman ang HCI sa field of computing, sa history of computing. Well, the invention of mouse, as in our peripheral device nga mouse, is story ana si HCI. Okay, kaya navigating through our files and etc. will be easier if we use mouse. And the original the first version of mouse is made of wood. Okay, and then of course, ang mouse karon line. Nagani, 'di ba, mouse for gaming. No, and if you can see the design of katong mouse for gaming, no, na ay mga extra buttons diana or unsa pa na diana. Lahi siya og design. Mas easier siya gamiton. Tawag na to ana ergonomics. Okay? So that has something to do with engineering side. Another is the spreadsheet interface made business computing a huge success. So ang spreadsheet is actually a large sheet of paper that is used by accountants. So they saw the limitation of using that over time. So gihimuan nila og version sa computer. Mo nang ang tawag karon nato sa general term for spreadsheet programs like Microsoft Excel is actually a spreadsheet software, spreadsheet program. Kasi model, ang tawag na po nato ana modeling, gi-model siya. Okay, another is kanang sticky notes sa Windows nga operating system. As you can see, ang sticky notes, kung baga, modeled siya from real sticky notes. Di ba ang sticky notes, kung naagit sa mga offices, naara siya sa table sa usa ka employee, sticked around. So, if mapansin ninyo ang sticky notes sa Windows ka OS, narapod siya sa imuhang desktop. Pwede po siya maglain-lain ng color. And ang color, kay model yun siya sa physical nga sticky notes. Ang tawag na to ana modeling. So, part po na siya sa HCI. Internet, and of course, since it can be used to store massive collection of data, then also contribution of HCI over the history of computing is kaning web browser na interface. Okay, so modeling gihapon ang tawag nato ani kay if you can check out the metaphor of a spider web, di ba interconnected siya. Oo, so gihimo siya nga model, gihimo siya nga metaphor sa World Wide Web. Kasi ang isa ka file nga daghag link, kato siya nga link, ini-click nimo ato nga link, pwede siya mo-transfer to laing file and connected to another file and etc. Thereby forming an imaginary connection of information or of files and data. And hence, gigamit ang term nga web. Okay. Another is smartphone, and contribution po sa HCI ang kaning touchscreens. So, na-story nga nung na-touchscreen siya. Okay, and by convention, ang mga smartphones karon, well, I don't know if the term must be used is convention or standard, but if you can see, ang smartphones karon, ano na gid siya? Kung na siya? Touchscreens na gid siya. And ang touchscreen po itself, naa siya laing-laing versions ng mga technology. no? So especially this is common with Samsung. Pwede katong mga ilahang gitawag na AMOLED, okay, and kato pong sa Apple. Abot na kabantay ba mo na sa box ang tawag nila is sa to IPS or sa to siya. No? So napo siya iyahang technology mismo. And of course, the recent trends, di siya bago kaning mga body-based and action-oriented interfaces. No? So computing goods or computing products that now recognize our movements as inputs. Okay, so contribution po na siya sa HCI. Okay. So think about the evolution of design that you can think of right now as you are watching this video. And also this one, you can also think about sets of bad designs available around ngayon yung na-observe. As of now, pwede nato dili lang i-limit ang bad design sa computer-related nga mga examples. Kaya kung mga computer-related man siya, pwede na po mo tabok sa, for now pwede na po mo tabok sa into other examples of bad design. So meaning pwede siya sa mga appliances or unsa ba kita ba kag table di ana nga poorly designed siya or wala ba kay napansin sa any good or product na medyo nakaingon ka nga kani siya medyo inanon ta ni pagka-design blah 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 or naa ba kay gadget di ana karon nga hassle gamiton because of this particular reason blah blah blah. So pwede nato na siya i-evaluate, no? Pwede na siya igamiton nga matter and try to evaluate and assess if that is indeed considered a bad design. When can we say that it is a bad design? Malagi ito siya natin evaluation metrics, natin methods of evaluation. And of course, ang pinaka-simple way to determine that it is a bad design is ang katong mga principles. So natay puhon, you will learn about what we call the golden rules of design by Ben Schneiderman. Ben Schneiderman is one of the founders, one of the few persons that had contributed so much in the field of human-computer interaction. Okay, next. Human HCI in software development. So like I said, one day you will enroll a course called software engineering where you will be grouped and you will then be required to develop your own software. So ang phase nga inyong agian sa software engineering are the following. So you have planning, analysis, design, implementation, testing and integration, and maintenance. So sa planning, of course, you will pinpoint kinsa ang programmer, blah, 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 things like that. No? So for now, let's not discuss in depth about it. Anyway, this is not software engineering, but this will occur as soon as you enroll software engineering one day. Ang analysis is a data gathering ni siya, people. Okay, and when you gather data coming from the users, okay, so when you collect specifications or demands coming from the users, most likely they will suggest designs, their own designs, way of requirements related to design. So naadya pud mo occur ang HCI, no? So and of course on the given figure, pinaka-importante, pinaka-common mo occur ang HCI sa design phase. Kay mag-design man mo ana. Kung software related, then sa interfaces. Sa buttons, no, ibutang ang button, color matters, concepts, themes, etc. So naadya na ang dila mo occur si HCI. Okay, so basically that will lead us to the question, is HCI independent? Yes and no ang answer. So depende po siya kay na sa inyong software engineering, you will also learn about development methods. Now, what development method nga ang tawag prototype. Okay, na may mga organization nga mag-experiment lang og mga products nga wala bitaw, dili siya planado, kumbaga they just want to experiment and invent a product and see if the public will like it. So in that case, dili siya kinahanglan og formal development process. You get me? Dili siya kinahanglan og rigid development process. Nga naman, wala man siya requirements daan. Mura naman siya og kanang kumbaga experiment lang. Natawo lang nako og ganahan ba ang mga natawo lang nato kung marketable ba ni siya, mabaligya ba ni siya, naa ba kay mo palit ani. So kana siyang methodology, ang tawag nato ana sa ato ang field is prototyping. So informal na siya kay wala man siya set of requirements beforehand. So in that case, dira ra mo occur si HCI. Oo. So kani pod siya ang dependence pod ni HCI di ani is a software development man gid siya kanang formal undertaking man gid ning software development. After all, that's why it's called software engineering. So formal iyang process. Scientific iyang process, step by step. Naay klaro nga requirements. It's not a joke, kumbaga. Okay? So, an example, mga enrollment system, okay? Point of sale system, inventory system. Mga nasa mga examples na mo-undergo og software engineering. Na naman gud na siya design. Okay, labi na karon nga ang mga systems pod ning evolve pod siya. Naanay mga bag-ong devices. No? If you go to grocery stores, mga modern grocery stores, pwede na nga ang counter na sa shopping carts. So kana siya, design man na siya pod. Naman po'y kalabutan ang design ana. Okay, generally HCI. Okay, so pwede siya mo-occur dili sa design. Next, speaking of prototyping, a prototype is an early sample or model or release of a product built to test a concept or process. So it is a semi-finished product. So ang mahitabo kanang sa prototyping okay, naniha sa software engineering ang tawag ani kung step by step gid siya lapinan ng mga enrollment systems, mga point of sale system puhon sa inyong time. Ang methodology nga inyong i-adopt ana is what we call waterfall model. Okay, formal man siya, may klarong requirements. Whereas if you are just, if you're rich enough to try to invent something and see it for yourself, if the public will like it, and if there's actually money from it, then you can invest on prototypes. No, kana bang buhat ka og early version, i-test nimo kung pasar ba based on your personal requirement or based on your imagination or whatever. So ginatest hangtod sa makuha nimo ang imuhang desired output. Okay? So naadi ana ang HCI. So in that case, HCI plays a great role when designing or when building your prototypes. Okay? I have mentioned a while ago that HCI is a multidisciplinary field, meaning it consists of other professions out there. So it consists of engineering side, of psychology side, and etc. And of course, our side, computing science, computer science, and information technology. Over time, ang HCI was given importance because people will definitely buy products that are designed properly, that are designed well, that are effective, that are good to use. Okay? Excellent to use, if not good to use. So along the way, over time, nagka-broaden ang field ni HCI. No, hangtod, it came up with the following. Gibulag na siya, user-centered design, user interface design, and user experience design. Again, if you read materials online and explore more about HCI, you will definitely read something about user experience design. It can be a job. Okay? Kanang mga online job, na ay mga online jobs out there na mga gitawag na itong mga user experience designers. Okay? One example is, I don't know if you have experienced this, but there are smartphones out there nga inibitag imong i-minimize ang volume. Ang uban kay balik-balikon nimo og press ang button para ma-minimize ang volume. Ang uban kay long press nimo sa button nga minimize katong down, arrow down, right away mo dila siya mo minimize, mo silent gyud ang volume. Sa user experience to siya. Ano man, aron dili na magsige og tap ang user o down press the button para lang mo minimize ang iyang volume. Okay? So, kung sa maning tulo, don't get me wrong though, because actually these three are interrelated. You cannot take away one and make it independent. No. So, ano lang gid siya, I just want you to realize from now on that HCI is number one, multidisciplinary in terms of disciplines. Okay, kasi na siya appeal psychology, na siya appeal engineering, and blah blah blah. And at the same time, the field itself of HCI is broad enough to come up with different subsets or focuses. Okay, so kumbaga, studying HCI is broad, is so broad. It's too broad. Okay, so naay mga subset aron lang siya mas klaro ang imong focus. So kung HCI, you invest your future with HCI, man gyud ka dapita. Na siya tawag nga user-centered design, user interface design, user experience design. Pero interrelated na silang tulo. Yes, di na sila pwede mabulag-bulag. Ang user-centered design is it's a process of determining the specifications. Well, even in software engineering, soon when you enroll the subject or the course, you will be using, okay, para lang dili maglibog no, but soon when you enroll software engineering, naatay gitawag nga client-based. No? That term will be familiar to you soon. You will hear that term very often soon. So ang tawag nila is user client-based, no? Pag may client-based software, centered yun na ang user. Okay? So ang user-centered design proseso na siya kumbaga, it's just part of HCI that tells you to focus on the user. So investigate, discover, collect, interview, conduct survey, blah blah blah. When you gather data about what the user wants. Because if I take you back to this figure, naana siya mahitabo sa phase 2 or analysis. Pwede po siya sa planning. So you will gather data about what the user wants. Mora gid na siya, user-centered design. Okay, so sa inyong software engineering po na ay pamaagi ana unsaon siya pagkuha og data nga user-centered ka. It's a process, okay, of focusing, gathering data that focus on what the user wants. Kanang user interface design, synonymous na siya sa mga graphic artists, mga into graphic design. Okay, so sila tong in charge sa aesthetics. Okay, they focus on the looks or styles. So naa sila usahay kaning visual kasi naay mga tao gid pud nga innate visual. Okay, visual sila. Nagid sila kumbaga talent ana nga aspeto, no? So in terms of bagay ba ang color, no? So mo ano ba siya, mo parallel ba ang iyahang combination, etc. Okay, so mao na sila ang mga gitawag nato user interface designers, mga graphic designers. Tapos tong mga well, this is not really new, but this is an emerging part of HCI. Okay, kanang gitawag tag user experience design. They are more into the they are concerned on the experience. Okay, the key is the experience when using the software or when using the product. Now, example ani nga dili software, but I hope you get the sense. Look at that example. So ang iyahang dagway lang, okay, is the UI. Aron lang ma-compare na to siya. So these are bottles of ketchups, all from Heinz. The left side is an output of a user interface designer. So that is the look and style. Okay, mahimo siyang trademark nga look, no? Para inig bisan pag di nimo mabasa nga Heinz, pero pag lantaw nimo mo na iyahang dagway, right away you as a customer you can easily recognize that kani ang Heinz nga ketchup. Okay? On the right side is a user experience designer. Kumbaga, ano man, di ba inigamit mo sa ketchup, imo magyapon siyang iboto. Mo siyang ano, sana siya. Murag itaktak nimo pa bottom ang iyahang sulod. Okay? Whereas, sa user experience ana nga side, why not ang katong opener niya na lang sa bottom na. You get the point? I hope you get the sense. Okay? Haga exist ang fine line between user interface designer and user experience designer. So they are more on the value, giving value to the experience. No? In other words, mas efficient siya gamiton. Okay? Naapabay mas laing way ani nga magamit siya, like something like that. Okay, so that is the perspective of a user experience design compared to a user interface design. Okay, so I hope nakuha nato karon ng ang field DI sa information technology again, and I have mentioned this quite so many times already in the past. Subset yun siya, mula siyang umbrella, daghan siya ba og daghan siya aspects ka pwede mag-focus. Okay, so you can read more about user experience design and designing if you are interested, really interested about this aspect. Okay, so in summary, HCI is a study of design, implementation, and evaluation of interfaces. HCI aims to develop useful interfaces and other digital products. Dapat effective siya sa user, dapat gamiton siya sa user, and for business people, dapat paliton siya sa user. And ang end users or customers, dili mo palit og product nga dali maguba, poorly designed, looks really bad, and etc. Another is HCI is a broad and multidisciplinary field. No? So, ang atuang i-contain sa kanang kurso, because this is the descriptive title is Introduction to HCI, is only the basic, fundamental aspects of HCI. HCI's major elements are the human, the computer, and the interaction between these elements. So we will tackle theories, we will tackle limitations of a person when it comes to using computers. We will tackle how different interfaces or computer technologies are used in order to support people to finish tasks easily. And then we will also tackle principles and guidelines that are available around, proposed by the founders of HCI in terms of establishing good interconnection between the person as the end user and the computer. And also, one summary is user must be the center of the development. Okay. Before we continue, before we formally begin our session, hopefully next meeting with an online session, there are only few reminders that I would like everybody to observe. Number one, the integrity of your tasks along the way. Let's learn from the lessons of the first semester. I only hope that your tasks are produced, done by no one but you. Another is timeliness of the tasks, I hope, because I can see that other students karon pa nagkarakara nga finals na. Remember, the tasks are weekly, and the time given is actually sufficient. So play your role as students and observe your unnecessary excuses going to your classes. For other concerns, I also realized that some students karon pa manggawas ang mga kay maulo mangutana, maulo mo clarify. You can always put that or comment that on the posts, and please realize as well of your responsibility and role in finishing your tasks for grading purposes. Okay, so for the task, I will be requiring this. Next meeting, I will be collecting it, and you have a week to do this because hopefully we will meet on Tuesday when the power hopefully will become stable, as well as our internet connection. You can take a screenshot of this, and ang important lang a note, Ana, is do not copy all the article. and it's expected that you read your article. I will be asking questions randomly about your output. And of course, if you won't be able to answer it, then I might consider it as null and void. So you can begin researching and just write a short summary. Dili kinahanglan nga very lengthy. Please also put some figures if naa dito. So I have mentioned a while ago matters about good and bad design. So I just simply want you to look for research, look for articles that discuss mga experiences sa mga tao because of bad design. Naabay na aksidente kay sayop ang signage. Bad lang taon ang signage. Naabay na paso kay poorly designed ang gas range. Naabay phone nga ning buto di ana kay poorly designed ang ang charger or kana pong 'di ba na ay ubang smartphone nga iyahang earphone jack na sa taas, ang uban na sa bottom. So does that matter? Naa ba na siya inana nga mga effects, no? So inana ang atinyohang i-research. Okay? So ibutang lang sa letter size paper and of course for any inquiries and questions you can always comment it to this post. I think this will be all for now. You stay safe and I hope to see you next meeting. Thank you.